guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stacey. If you don't know me, I'm an infidelity coach and I equip women and men with the tools that you need to heal, grow, and transform your life after infidelity. I offer one-on-one coaching sessions, and your first coaching session is actually free. It's a 30-minute free chat with me where we go over where you're at and what's going on with you, and I can put together a personalized program to help you where you are and help get you to where you want to be and not get stuck. Because gosh, trying to get over an affair, you can really get stuck in some of the roadblocks if you don't know what they are, if you're not aware. So that's where I help you. I will leave that information down below in the description box, as well as information to my website, a link, like I said, for you to sign up with me. My podcast is down there, which, by the way, a new one came out yesterday, and we are talking about the challenges that we face after our affair in the sexual department. When it's hard to go from having your affair partner and then go back home to your husband, and we struggle in the sex department. It's just not the same. It's very challenging, and we really don't know how to get past it. And a lot of times this is where fear will set in and hopelessness and things like that. So go check out that podcast. I have some really great information on how to help you get through that, and why we struggle. Because there are reasons why we struggle to return back to a normal sex life with our spouse, or even to want to have sex with our spouse after our affair. So go check that out. But in today's video, I want to talk about 3 reasons why I believe your affair partner will not leave his wife for you. So a lot of times when we're having an affair, we think that we are the stuff, like, we're the be all, say all, they're going to leave their wife. And they may even promise that, and they may even feel that way. But sometimes, actually in most cases, you will see that just doesn't happen. Like, hey, you're not leaving your wife. And this is when a lot of pressure is applied to the affair relationship, and you actually get into the power struggle stage, and it's just really hard to maintain it. But that's for another video. So this video is really talking about 3 reasons that I have seen in guys why they really won't leave their wife for their affair partner, even if they are extremely attached to them, even if they are really emotionally involved. There's still some really concrete reasons as to why they will not leave. So let's jump into those. Okay, so the first one, he may not be looking for a way out. He may just be looking for an escape. And that is two completely different things. Looking for an escape is, hey, I need a break from reality, like my reality, like I work too much. I'm always busy. I have kids after school activities. I'm not being a husband. I'm just dad. I don't, all my emotional needs are not being met. I'm okay. My wife is okay. She's not terrible, but, our sex life is not great. We're just too tired, so he may want to escape that part of his reality, and he may want to experience being, hey, this is what it feels like to be a man. This is what it feels like to be loved and desired, and I can focus on sex with this person, and I can escape the pressure of having to pay bills, take care of kids, fighting with the spouse, all of those types of things. And that is his escape. That is what he's looking for. And he really wants to keep the best of both worlds. So he wants to keep it where I can enjoy you in this area of my life, but over here, this is my family, and I'm dad, and I'm husband, but I'm not in that husband mode. We're not actually enjoying the marriage. We're not connecting on that level. So that could be something that he's looking for. Now, if he's looking for a way out of his marriage, that's different. Then he really is looking, hey, I don't want to be alone, so let me see if somebody out there I can connect with and possibly, leave my wife and get with this person, and I can actually start my life over, and sometimes when that situation presents itself, then the wife, maybe she's toxic, or maybe the marriage has become too toxic and he really doesn't want to stay in it. He doesn't know how to leave, or he's afraid. Maybe he has abandonment issues, so he really doesn't want to be alone, so he'd rather find someone, and have that person ready and waiting for when he does decide to make that jump, to leave his wife. Because, no matter what the case is, whether it's I'm looking for an escape, or I'm really wanting to get out and my marriage is terrible, it's still hard to go through a divorce, and you still have to deal with, seeing, if you have kids, seeing how sad they are and having to deal with that. So having somebody there for you and reminding you, hey, this is why you're leaving, and hey, it still can be good, is, helps to, acts as a buffer against the pain that you'll go through from divorce. So those are two different things. Let's understand that. If it's just to escape, he may say some things, hey, yeah, I do want to be with you, or he may not even ever talk about the future. That's one thing that you can notice if he's not really thinking about leaving, is he won't really talk about the future. Or sometimes he might talk about the future, but he just knows in the back of his mind he's not gonna take that step. The second reason why he won't leave his family is because of his children and his finances. So men, it's just natural. Not everyone, when they separate, not everyone where the guy gets half and half, where you see the dad as much as you see the mom. That's not always the case. A lot of the times it's, hey, every other weekend, some holidays in the summer, and that's what the dads get. And a lot of times the men are just not willing to risk, or not really willing to cut the time in half that they see their children. They just don't want to do that, especially if they're little. They, now when they become teenagers, that area might not be as bad, but yet they still don't want to look bad in front of their children, because if they are trying to set an example for their child and say, hey, this is how dad is, this is the man dad is, this is how I want you to be, they know that leaving will distort that, perception of what their child sees as what's a good man and what's, a good dad and that type of thing. And they are not willing to risk that. They just won't, they just will deal with the emotional pain and the loss of not having you before they will go through putting their kids through that or cutting their time back with their children. They're just not willing. And where finances are concerned, that's a huge deal. A lot of times finances get cut in half. They, you lose it. They have to pay child support, and if you're in the medical profession, or you have a lot of money and you guys own a lot of property, it's a huge hit. It changes the culture of that, of what they're used to living. He could be used to living one way, and he knows if he gets a divorce, then his way of life is going to change. He might not be willing to do that. I see that a lot. They consider everything. Men consider everything, where I feel like women may not take all of these things in factor. It's just like, hey, I'm just ready to jump. Let's just do this. I love you. It feels good. I'm there. But men are not like that. They're more observant, and they're more tuned into the logic side of things, which leads me to the next part. He doesn't trust you. So like I said, men are watching everything. They are more logical thinkers than we are. They think more with their logical part of their brain, and they are watching you. And yes, they are doing the same thing that you're doing. You both are in an affair. But when he's thinking about making a huge step that's going to change his life completely, where he loses time with his kids, he loses, his financial stability possible, that type of thing, then he's going to want to know what's up with you. And, a lot of times they're like, well, why are you having an affair? Why? And it's not really fair, because, it's almost like they're judging us and they're doing the same thing. But it's just what I have learned from men that I have worked with, what they consider I can't, or what they don't consider, like, I can't even risk my family for this situation. And, on both sides, in the back of your mind, there's trust issues. This person's having an affair, all of that, even though they feel like they're, your best friends and you connected, but you still know, and there's still that sense of, I can't trust you. Especially if you're having an affair and your affair partner knows that you've had multiple, or that they have had multiple affairs before you, the trust factor is just not there, and they're not willing to risk their life on that. They want to have fun. They want to feel connected. They want to keep getting their needs met by you, but they're not willing to risk their life or say, okay, hey, well, they are kind of risking it. That's true. That's not a good word, but they're not willing to say, okay, I'm going to give up everything for this situation. Now, it does happen. Okay, 3% of couples who are having an affair actually end up together. They actually get married. But 70% of those couples end in a divorce. And usually you will see one or both of them will have an affair somewhere, down the line. So when people know that, and especially with guys, they take all that into consideration. And does it mean that they don't love you? No, not necessarily, because men fall in love just like women. It just means that they are more logical. They know more about what they want for their future, especially if they're older. As you start getting older, like in your 40s and your 50s and beyond, it's like, okay, I don't want to deal with all this. I just want to be settled, but I also want to feel that passion again. But having passion, sometimes people will say it's overrated. So, the older you get, it's like, okay, passion is not worth losing my children or losing my finances or anything like that. So those are things that I want you to know, because if your affair partner is telling you, hey, let's get together, I want to leave my wife, pay attention, because it possibly will not happen. And if he is telling you that or has told you that and he won't leave his wife, this is why. This is some of the reasons behind why he really won't, and maybe he's telling you he will to keep you staying with him because he still wants you, but he wants his cake and eat it too. Basically that's what he's doing. And in honesty, if you look at both sides, infidelity is very destructive, and you are trying to build a relationship on lies and deception on both sides. Both sides reveal that, hey, there's some core wounds going on. I operate out of them when I'm triggered, and infidelity is the first thing that I run to. So, like I said, chances are, if you did it once, you'll do it again, unless you get healed from it, from that core wound, and then you'll be okay. Then you'll recognize triggers and you'll be able to respond to, whatever those triggers are in a healthy way. So I hope this helped you to understand a little bit about what might be going on behind the scenes with your affair partner, why, they promised to leave and they never did, or if they're promising to leave, chances are they probably won't. Now, again, some people do, so I can't say that this is for everyone. Like I said, 3% of couples actually end up getting married. I know my husband that I'm married to now, we were having an affair before we got married. So I actually married my affair partner. We were having an affair when I was in my early 20s, and then we ended up getting married when we were 26. So, fast forward 10 years later, I ended up having an affair on him. So if you have one affair, you have to pay attention to it, and there, there's many things that go on. If you want to know my full story, I will link the video somewhere up here. I go into what happened with, my current husband and all of that. But yeah, okay, so that's today's video. I hope it helped you. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Feel free to email me. Go check out my podcast, share it, subscribe. Let's try to get some healing out to other women and men who are suffering in silence from infidelity. And as always, remember, you are not your mistakes, and your past doesn't define you. Love you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.